really none of your business. It's none of my business.
Hello, bonsoir et bienvenue. Welcome to the Motivated Classroom August Spotlight from Paris. I'm here for the last night of the Olympics supporting Ireland in the athletics. Today it is the episode 55 with the amazing Dr. Florencia Henshaw. Fantastic, amazing episode and really builds upon the last couple I did in the Spotlight with Bill Van Patten, Karen Lichtman and of course Stephen Krashen. So I liked one of the first things that Florencia talked about, which was the importance of being evidence informed, but making sure that we follow the dots and don't just take one study out of context. She says you can find research to justify just about everything you want to justify. So be skeptical of research. Go back to connect the dots. Don't just look at one dot related to that. I think it's important to look at the bigger picture and to connect those little dots. Really like that. And then she talked about the example of a study about heritage speakers. And of course, many of us might not have those students who may speak the language at home or who grew up speaking it. But then she says, you know, when you look into that study, what they found echoes what other studies have found in terms of explicit instruction of grammar with second language learners, which is that it makes the learners think twice and want to say less because they're being extra careful about what they're saying. So in a way, it makes us reflect on to what extent explicit instruction of spelling, in this case for this study, or grammar is stunting the learner's creativity and willingness to express themselves. So that was really nice. She then spoke a really nice part about acquisition being implicit, again really echoing what Bill Van Patten and Karen Lichtman spoke about. She said most scholars, if not all, agree that acquisition, acquiring a language, is mostly implicit, meaning you cannot consciously control it. I think that's really important for the classroom teacher to know. Also, it depends on making form, meaning connections. So meaning has to be key. What I see in a lot of language textbooks is so much focused on the form, as in the grammar, to the point that the meaning becomes secondary. It should not be that way. Acquisition is very much dependent on meaning. Some really important stuff there. And then I really liked what you talked about with input and output. Again, very much echoing the BVP and Lichtman episode. It says both input and output play roles, but they do not play the same role. We could perhaps argue whether they play roles for acquisition. Probably not. But they play roles for language development, and she's talking about output in this sense. And to me, that's an important distinction. Yes, input drives acquisition, if we define acquisition as building the system. But to me, output is also important in developing communicative ability, which is what a lot of us want our learners to be able to do. So to keep that in mind, that the roles of input for language acquisition and output for language development, which I think is really nice as a classroom teacher, that yes, we know you cannot acquire language without comprehensible input, but we develop our fluency, our confidence, our communicative ability by outputting when we're ready and getting involved in interactions. Then she had a lovely part about praising creativity and curiosity in the classroom. She says, you know, we get really focused on mastery, but it's important to praise creativity and curiosity. When they say something right, but what about everything else, all the other things language entails? So I try to remind myself to do tasks where students can be creative, so they're not so focused on what language we're using, just like you said with the story, but also the curiosity, what they want to learn, asking them about it. So that's where that co-creation is massive. That we want students to be playful and creative with the language, and that is, we should praise that. And finally, I love her part about principles over labels. I think that part is amazing from Florencia. It's such a great thing to think about, that you may meet teachers who are, you know, putting labels on teachers is not a good thing. And she says that, oh, this person is a socioculturalist, this person's task-based, this person is TBL, this person is, you know, TPRS teacher, CI teacher. It's not good. It doesn't build bridges, as she says. It can be alienating. It just makes us not want to discuss things with that person. So to me, it should all be a conversation, not a competition to see whose approach or whose perspective is better. As I've said, principles over labels. Go back to the fundamentals, the things all of us agree on, which is, of course, that input is essential for acquisition. And I think all of that is just such a lovely, lovely thing from Florencia Henshaw. So thank you, merci, thank you from Paris, and I will see you all tomorrow for day 11 of the August Spotlight.